So everyone, Ukrainian drones hit targets deep inside Russia in a wave of overnight strikes, officials said Wednesday, in what appeared to be the biggest attack on the country since it launched a full-scale invasion of its neighbor more than 18 months ago. 4 military transport aircraft were reportedly damaged at an airfield near the border with Russia's Baltic neighbors as strategic sites were set ablaze across the country, the latest signal that the war is increasingly playing out on Russian soil. Drone attacks have become an almost daily occurrence within Russia in recent months as Ukraine seeks to turn the tables on its invader in the air while pressing a counteroffensive on the battlefield. They have not led to significant damage or loss of life, but the attacks are posing a growing challenge for the Kremlin, making it difficult to keep the war distant for the Russian population. Ukraine stuck to its policy of not taking public responsibility for attacks inside Russia, while decrying an overnight missile and drone attack on its capital, Kyiv, that officials said left 2 people dead. Russia woke Wednesday to news that at least 6 regions had come under attack. 4 Il-76 transport aircraft were damaged, with 2 engulfed in fires, after drones struck a military airport in Russia's western Pskov region, the state news agency TASS reported. Pskov governor, Mikhail Vedornikov shared a video on the Telegram messaging app that showed a massive plume of smoke and the sounds of an explosion in the background, saying the Russian Defense Ministry was deflecting a drone attack on the city's airport. He cancelled all flights to and from the airport Wednesday until the damage could be assessed. He said there were no casualties, and that firefighters were tackling the fire. The Pskov branch of Russia's Emergencies Ministry said on its website that it received overnight reports of Il-76 aircraft on fire. It did not mention the number of planes that were reportedly burning, or any drone attacks. Pskov sits near the Russian border with Estonia and is quite far from the front lines, some 520 miles north of Kyiv. The Russian Defense Ministry made no mention of the attack on the Pskov airport in its official statements, but reported drone attacks in the Ryazan, Kaluga and Orlov regions in a series of late-night messages on Telegram. It said all drones were intercepted and did not comment on any damage or casualties. These regions lie relatively close to Ukraine but not in the immediate vicinity of the border. Kaluga governor, Vladislav Shapsha reported on Telegram that one of the drones in his region hit an empty tank for storing petroleum products, but that there were no casualties. He reported another drone attack in daytime, several hours later, but said the drone was destroyed and debris fell outside residential areas. Orlov governor, Andrei Klitschkov said on Telegram 2 drones hit his region. There was no information about casualties or damage. He reported another drone attack in the region Wednesday afternoon. The Defense Ministry also reported drones destroyed in the Moscow region, in a district west of the Russian capital. Drones were also downed in the region of Bryansk, which lies on the border with Ukraine, according to the ministry. Governor Alexander Bogomaz reported 7 destroyed drones in 4 separate attacks since midnight, one of which he said targeted a television tower. There were no casualties, but an administrative building was damaged, he said. Around midnight, the ministry also reported destroying 4 high-speed military boats, carrying 50 Ukrainian Special Operations Forces in the Black Sea. It later also reported destroying a similar boat near Snake Island, an important Ukrainian outpost in the Black Sea, in the occupied Crimean city of Sevastopol, Gov. Mikhail Razvoujayev reported an attack by drones from the sea in the harbor area. Russia accuses Ukraine of massive nighttime drone attack. While Russia was facing its biggest aerial onslaught of the war, Ukraine's capital faced its most intense attack in months. 2 people were killed and 3 others were injured in a missile and drone attack on Kyiv on Wednesday morning, local officials reported, calling it the most powerful attack since spring. The exchanges Wednesday came exactly a month after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky vowed to return the war to Russia, to its symbolic centers and military bases. Russia blames all drone attacks on its soil on Kyiv, which normally doesn't acknowledge responsibility. There was no official reaction in Kyiv after the drone attacks Wednesday, but Zelensky advisor Mikhailo Podolyak said on X, formerly Twitter, that the attack on Kyiv was revenge for growing accidents in the Russian Federation itself. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said Wednesday that Ukrainian attacks on peaceful civilian facilities on Russian territory will not go unpunished, adding that the attacks confirm the terrorist nature of the Kyiv regime. Moscow normally calls all attacks on Russian soil terrorism, but brands its own attacks on Ukraine as aimed only at military installations, despite evidence that thousands of civilian sites have been hit in Ukraine since last February. Zakharova also said that Ukrainian drones would not be able to fly this far without help from Western satellites. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Russian military experts were investigating the launch routes of the drones to take appropriate measures preventing any further such attacks. He also said the majority of the drones were targeted at civilian infrastructure and vowed that Russia will continue its special military operation in Ukraine in order to eradicate such threats. Russian state TV barely touched on the drone attacks in daily newscasts Wednesday. But the 60 Minutes analytical show on Russia 1 opened with the attacks in a special episode, running eyewitness video. Its host Mark Weston reports that the attacks are meant to put psychological pressure on Russian people, while pundits accused Western intelligence of helping Kyiv attack Russian territory. Meanwhile, Ukraine pushes on with a counteroffensive that has struggled to make a breakthrough but does seem to have achieved some progress in the south in recent days. The US announced a new package for Kyiv on Tuesday, providing $250 million in military aid, which includes more missiles for air defense. Finally, if you enjoyed the video, please big thumbs up the video, and if you are visiting the channel for the first time, please subscribe. Thank you.